Okay. Let me pick from where my friend Fanyamambo has left.
Yes.
I think it is unfortunate, and it has been quite unfortunate to see very eminent persons appearing before this committee and make very powerful presentations. For instance, I saw a guy I have tremendous respect for, the jurist and former Attorney General, Professor Githu Muigai, make very powerful and lucid presentation before the committee on the number of counties and the electoral units. But what I need to say that it's quite regrettable that we have had all these powerful presentations being made before a committee that is not going to achieve anything because of its how it's constituted. Because the Kalonzo Kimani committee, as you can see, and Kalonzo pointed it out yesterday that it was a presentation from one of their members, so to speak, and he said that these people should be given time to heal. You see, allow them to speak. I mean, it's a healing process. So in my view, I feel like what is going on at Bomas is a forum for people to heal, people to express their dissatisfaction. And it is lamentable that we are having very powerful and good presentation and proposals that are being tabled before a wrong forum. Because that is not the purpose. You see, the presentation that these people are making, including the people that Fanyamambo is supporting and the organizations, these are presentations which ought to be taken seriously. These are presentations which ought to culminate into some serious legislative proposals, bills or referendum questions. But if you look at the structure of the committee itself and how it's running its affairs, that's why I said, in my view, I expect a minority report, if at all they will be divided in basis of the numerical strength, and also expect the majority report. And the respective reports will be tabled before their respective political chiefs. You understand? So at the end of the day, after the tabling of those two reports, it will be status quo ante, as we say. The conditions that existed previously will still exist.
Yes.
But more importantly is this. It's not about hiding something, as my friend will want to put it. It's about allowing constitutional processes to come to an end. Election is a process, and just like every process has got a beginning and an end. We can't be in this vicious cycle forever, where we do an election is disputed, we go to the judiciary, we scale the justice all the way to the highest judicial authority, pronouncement is made, and then we fall back to where we began. We start this so-called vicious audit. You see, so the audit, by the way, the law prescribes that the IBC has got the mechanism of doing its internal audit. And once it has done its internal audit, it tables a report for national dialogue. And from that report, now we can engineer some reforms if we feel there are reforms to be done. So that one is provided under the law. But the audit that is being championed by the Azimio side, it's regrettable and it's understandable at the same time. Because you see, losing an election that was hotly contested, I mean, it is devastating. I'm sure this is something that really stung them. They did not expect it. And it's a nightmare, so to speak. So sometimes you can understand where they're coming from. They are struggling to come to terms with the reality that they lost such a closely contested election. And you see, we cannot force them to accept at once. We also need to give them time, a period. That's why I feel also that even the constitution of this committee was done hurriedly. I mean, these fellas needed some time to heal. It's a healing process, Simba. I mean, if you look at the way these guys had psyched themselves up, I mean, all indications pointed to the fact that they were going to have this thing. And then suddenly, whatever happened, happened. And they missed it. So it is something that we also need to look at it in that context. But when it comes to the legal aspect of it and the structure of our democracy, you see, democracy is an unruly horse. And sometimes you can champion for democracy, like the former Prime Minister. I really believe he has done a lot in terms of championing for democratic ideals in this country. But as I said, democracy is a double-edged sword. You can use it against your opponent, but at the same time, your opponent can use it against you, depending on where the numerical strength is.
Yes.
So, for example, in my view, in 2022 general elections, despite the fact that the former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, had played a very pivotal role in the development of our democratic state,
yes,
it was so unfortunate that the same democracy worked against him. And you see, this is the reality that we have to live with. We can lament about it, we can debate it, we can try to argue about it and tell whoever managed to open this server or open this portal or bring that form, but we can't change it, you see. And what we need to do is to ensure that as we move forward, how do we strengthen our institutions, yes, to the extent that now it doesn't matter who is on the other side? Because truth be told, yes, and it has been a perception that it's very difficult for a government-leaning candidate, yes, to lose an election. But you see, 2022, in all fairness, you can see, and it's clear that the person who was leaning on the side of the government lost an election.
Jackson, once we come back from this tiny breather, it will be up